Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz.
Wow, I'm with some fellow patriots in Strongsville, Ohio. Thank you all so much for coming out in such strong numbers to support me or being willing to stay after the fantastic presentation of my friend Candace Owens. They always come for the fighters, don't they? Rudy Giuliani, Steve Bannon, Brett Kavanaugh, Donald Trump Jr., Jim Jordan, Donald Trump, and yours truly. That's a list I don't mind being on. The weak and mild are no real threat to the establishment. They're docile, easy to intimidate, manipulate, coerce, and buy off. Those the DC swamp can't compromise. They cancel and smear and ultimately kill. But you cannot kill an idea, and you cannot kill a movement as strong as America First. I'm currently touring the country with one of the true fighters in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. They can't control her, they couldn't control Trump, and they can't control me. In 6 days, Marjorie Taylor Greene and I will be demanding election integrity and a continuation of the Arizona audit in Mesa, Arizona. Think about what's gone on. I mean, Donald Trump won an overwhelming victory among the people who actually showed up to vote. And then you have these millions of ballots swirling around without any truly verifiable connection to any voter. And so the folks in Arizona thought, well, gosh, you know, we've recounted and looked at the results, but we should audit to see that if a ballot was cast related to a specific person, that specific person actually intended to cast that ballot. And the Biden Justice Department, Civil Rights Division, sent a letter to Arizona to stop the audit. The Biden Justice Department is actually working against the civil rights and voting rights of the citizens of this country. We will stand for election audits and for the states that are passing election integrity laws all around the country. And for everyone who says, well, we just need to move on. We need to pretend like this last election had no irregularities, no questions. We can be right about all the issues on trade, on immigration, on foreign policy, on national security. And if we don't closely watch the ballot box, if we don't assure that the election is actually the result of the will of the people, then winning the debate won't matter. We have to win the vote, and that's why this work is so incredibly important. In every voter scenario, we should require identification. Voter ID is not racist. Assuming that any Americans can't get an ID is what is racist. Now, the establishment, led by whatever is left of Joe Biden, is now accepting managed American decline, so long as they get rich in the process. Well, here is the truth. Politicians in both parties have long tried to convince us that we owe generosity to the rest of the world before we provide for our brothers and sisters in this country. Former President George W. Bush, sort of a blast from the past, he has now reemerged in politics to lead a group advocating for amnesty. I didn't have George W. Bush on my bingo card for future heroes of the Woketopia, but here we are. What a disappointment. Mitt Romney has never met a trade deal for China or an impeachment that he wasn't willing to support. Mitt is from Massachusetts. he got elected in Utah, but he is only the senator for Bain Capital and that type of ilk. Liz Cheney has been in favor of 10 of the last 3 wars. She believes that barbaric lands oceans away are more worthy of U.S. attention than the United States of America. Pardon me if I want to rebuild America before we rebuild Baghdad. I hear all these calls for unity in the Republican Party, and I believe that we must be unified and we should be unified to go beat the socialists and the Democrats who are doing such violence to our country. But I'm not ready to unify under the America Last banner. I believe that Donald Trump led a political realignment in this country that is positive and beneficial and built on winning and prosperity and pro-Americanism that does not bend or bow and that is unapologetic in the advancement of our country. I was watching Liz Cheney I was going through the airport on my way here, and I saw her on Jake Tapper's show. Yeah, right. And they criticized me and Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and the members of Congress that you see fighting for you. And Liz Cheney said that we've got to get rid of tribalism in the Republican Party. Tribalism. And I thought to myself, well, if our fellow Americans are our tribe, if we are our brother's keeper, if we believe that we owe more to the people living down the road than the people living in Middle Eastern deserts far away, then I am happy to be tribalist for my fellow Americans, for my fellow patriots, for my country that I know is the greatest country that has ever existed in all of human history. Now, the establishment, Congress members, are quite comfortable in the swamp of D.C. They waited for Trump to return to Florida's swamps, and now they're slithering and wallowing with Joe Biden. They've even gone back to sleazy earmarks and lobbyist control of our government. And just imagine the irony here. I am being falsely accused of exchanging money for naughty favors. Yet Congress has reinstituted a process that legalizes the corrupt act of exchanging money for favors through earmarks. And everybody knows that that's the corruption at play. The public hates it, but it's happened anyway because it is popular in permanent Washington. No, it is not a coincidence that all of those standing against America first stand to benefit by selling out Americans. Politicians, lobbyists, and PACs hope that with Trump gone, maybe we can just go back to business as usual and turn the swamp of Washington, D.C. into our own personal mud bath. Not me. I stand before you as the first Republican in Congress to say that donations from lobbyists and political action committees are no good with me. The American people are my one and only special interest. Since I made that pledge, Senator Ted Cruz and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene joined me with an AntiPAC Pledge of their own, and we welcome them to the cause. How can these members of Congress take hundreds of thousands of dollars from PACs and lobbyists and then come stand before you and tell you that that does not impact their vote? They work for them, not you. And I think it's about time, if the woke corporations want to cancel Republicans, maybe we ought to cancel them first. If the Democrats want to go be the party of big business and woke corporatism, they can have them. We will be the party of the hardworking men and women of this country, and there are more of us than there are of them. New warriors are in great demand when so many of our prior standard bearers have let us down. And so I'm here to tell you, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to the days of the Romneys and the Bushes and the Cheneys. This is Donald Trump's Republican Party, and I am a Donald Trump Republican, proudly, today, and forever. Trump is now my fellow Florida man. In Florida, masks are optional and dancing at weddings is mandatory, not the other way around. In Florida, we open schools and open businesses to uplift dreams and ambitions to contribute to the success and the way of life of our people. I say, let's ditch the lockdown politicians, not the American way of life and the American spirit. I'll tell you this, I'm not ready to trade the mask mandates for the vaccine mandates. I'm glad that in my state, there's an executive order to say that we will not have vaccine passports to judge the medical choices of our fellow Americans. That is invasive, that is too much government control, and it's just something that the party that tells us that ID to vote is racist somehow thinks that vaccine passports aren't racist. If ID to vote is racist, then vaccine passports are racist and we should not have them. And then we have Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci reminds me of every bad weatherman. You know, frequently wrong, but never in doubt. Trump has taken on every major powerful institution in America. The Democrats, the media, big corporations, big tech, and even many Republicans. Let us not forget that as Donald Trump was carving up the competition during the 2016 primary cycle, that there were people at the Republican National Committee strategizing to replace Trump electors with non-Trump electors to take the nomination away from him. Turns out the Democrats are just better at stealing elections than some of the establishment Republicans. Remember that it was members of both parties, like Adam Schiff and Paul Ryan, who legitimized the Russia hoax, until Jim Jordan and I blew it out of the water with the truth. If you ever think the deep state doesn't exist, just look at what we have seen with our own eyes. An FBI lawyer changed evidence before a secret court to get somebody close to Trump. Do you think that was the first time they'd thought about changing evidence? Do you think it will be the last time? You had the disgraced, corrupt former director of the FBI, Jim Comey, admitting that he was leaking information purposefully so that he could launch a political special counsel investigation. You saw the director of national intelligence, James Clapper, stand before Congress and say, there is no mass surveillance and data collection of Americans. Turns out there was mass surveillance and data collection of Americans. Look at what they did to General Michael Flynn, an American patriot, who rightly said that to put our country first, we needed to move past conflict with Russia and confront the real challenge presented by China. And for having that groundbreaking thought, and because he was putting it into effect, he was literally prosecuted for it. The deep state is everywhere, even at the post office. Did you know the post office has an internet covert operations program to spy on the social media actions of our fellow Americans? I would like it if the post office would just deliver the mail on time. Maybe not spy on our social media. What if they did it on budget? But it shows you all of these entities of government, they want to grow stronger and more powerful. And the way they do that is by helping their friends and targeting their enemies. And that's why it is so important to continue to find patriots who will stand up to those institutions that have well gone beyond the bounds of their authorized power and who really threaten our fellow Americans. MAGA is not in need of like the autopsy that we needed after the failed efforts of Romney Ryan. MAGA is a living, red-blooded movement of patriotic Americans calling for a new generation of champions. I can tell you that the hardest working and most talented member of the United States Congress is an Ohio man named Jim Jordan. I'd vote for Jim Jordan for Speaker, I'd vote for Jim Jordan for Pope, and I'm not even sure he's Catholic. I have aspired to be the Robin to his Batman. I could tell you we were recently walking from votes to committee, and he went his way, and this couple bounded up to me, strapped down with fanny packs and Washington visitor maps, and they said, "That was Jim Jordan." I said, "Yes." "And you're Matt Gaetz." "Yes, yes." "And you're both on the Judiciary Committee." "Yes, yes, we are." "And you're both best friends with President Trump." "Yes, we both know the president very well." "And you both stood in the way of the Russia hoax." "Yeah, that was very important work." And then there were those crazy false sex scandal allegations. I said, "No, that was Jordan." But socialism will hurt our nation far more than imagined smears and scandal. Fortune favors those who serve the people, and that describes MAGA, not the current president. I have a question. What do you think of your current congressman, Anthony Gonzalez? Do you think he's likely to prevail in a re-election campaign? No? Well, I have to ask then, is it likely that the Anthony Gonzalez congressional career might mirror the Anthony Gonzalez NFL career? Whole lot of hype, first round draft pick, out in 4 years. The way forward is not a repackaged version of Paul Ryan's Better Way, and it's certainly not the Green New Deal and the socialist way. Isn't it obvious by now? It is our America First ideas, not theirs, that fill the rallies and sell the tickets. I am told that the Strongsville GOP has never sold more tickets than for today's event. Congratulations to all of you. And look at who you invited to your state. Matt Gaetz and Candace Owens. I'm guessing you're not quite the establishment crowd on all fronts if that's your guest list. If I were president, I would make Candace Owens the head of the Republican Party. We would grow with more spirit, we would tell more truth, we would reach more people, and we would grow in legions beyond our imagination. And if Candace becomes president, which is probably far more likely, I think I'd make a great attorney general. I'd be easy on medical marijuana and tough on big tech. Wouldn't that be a nice reversal? There's still a lot of swamp left to drain, and if you want to drain the swamp, maybe hire a Florida man. We've drained lots of swamps before, and we know how to finish the job. But America First is not just a slogan or a spirit. It is an agenda. We believe that it is immoral to take money from our citizens and give it to other nations who hate us. We believe that American citizenship is so precious that it should not be given to people who come to our country illegally. We believe that the trade policy of this country should benefit Main Street, not Wall Street. We believe that the country that we live in and love should have the capability to defeat any foe, to vanquish any enemy and win every war, but that we shouldn't send our best and most patriotic to forever wars for unknowable gain. We believe that critical race theory or any other program meant to teach us to hate one another based on identity should be abolished. We believe that boys in skirts shouldn't play women's sports. That one is so obvious I can't even believe I have to say it out loud, but apparently it's 2021 and now we do. We believe that cheap Chinese goods often make cheap American men, and we believe there is nothing honorable about Apple and Walmart relying on Chinese slaves to make our products. The goods they send us aren't that good, and they come at the price of our communities. We believe it is more important to be effective than woke, and we believe that America never owes an apology for exceptionalism. And so if you believe these things, if you believe that America is a wonderful country, not intractably racist, if you believe that MAGA is patriotic, not deplorable. If you stand for the flag and kneel in prayer, then welcome, my fellow patriots. You're in the right place. America First is the movement for you. But we mustn't let our fellow Americans fall for the siren song of collectivism, globalism, liberalism, socialism, and so many of the other isms that are trying to destroy our country, endlessly promoted by the America Last media. Trump remains the leader of our party, and ours is a party and a nation still worth fighting for. He showed us that our politics is no longer just the red team against the blue team. It's the establishment against the rest of us. And there are more of us than there are of them. We are the strongest, most powerful movement in American politics today. As the 45th president reminds us, we are the elites now. There are many powerful forces trying to bring Trump and his allies down, but we will not let that happen. For there is no place to run, no distant land to convert to our purposes should America fail. I love this great country with all of my heart. I know that all of you do as well. Let's fight with all we have for her. God bless you, and let's go get them.